Furuta was born on the 18th of January, 1971 and grew up in Masato, Saitama Prefecture, where she lived with her parents, older brother and younger brother. At the time of her murder, she was a 17-year-old senior at Yeshio Minami High School, and she worked a part-time job at a plastic molding factory from October 1988 to save up money for a planned graduation trip. Furuta also accepted a job at an electronics retailer, where she planned on working after graduation. Furuta was well liked by her classmates and teachers, having high grades and infrequent absences. According to her friends, she dreamed of becoming an idol singer. On the evening of the 25th of November, 1988, Miyano and Minato rode around Masato on their motorcycles with the intention of robbing and raping local women, and spotted Furuta, who was on her way home from her part-time job. Acting on Miyano's orders, Minato kicked Furuta off a bicycle and fled the scene. Miyano, under the pretense of witnessing the attack by coincidence, approached Furuta and offered to walk her home. After further gaining her trust, Miyano walked Furuta to a nearby warehouse and threatened her, telling her that he was a Yakuza member and that he would spare her only if she followed his orders. That night, Miyano took Furuta by taxi to a hotel in Adaki, where he raped her. He later called Minato's house and bragged to Ogura about the rape, after which Ogura told him not to let Furuta leave. In the early morning hours of the 26th of November, Miyano took Furuta to a park near the hotel, where Ogura, Minato, and Watanabe were waiting. They told her they knew where she lived and that the Yakuza would kill her family if she attempted to escape. Minato agreed to allow Furuta to be confined in a room on the second floor of his house in Adaki for the purpose of gang raping her. Furuta was held captive a total of 40 days. On the 27th of November, Furuta's parents contacted the police about her disappearance. To discourage further investigation, the kidnappers forced Furuta to call her mother 3 times to convince her that she had run away but was safe and staying with friends. When Minato's parents were present at the house where she was being confined, Furuta was forced to act as his girlfriend. The group dropped this pretense when it became clear that Minato's parents would not report them to the police. The parents later claimed that they did not intervene because they were afraid of their son, who had been increasingly violent toward them. On the night of the 28th of November, Miyano and the others, along with Nakamura and Ahara, gang raped Furuta, after which Miyano shaved her pubic hair with a razor and used a match to burn her genital area. In early December, as punishment for an escape attempt, the group repeatedly punched Furuta in the face, and Miyano burned her ankles with a lighter. They forced Furuta to dance to music while naked, masturbate in front of them, and stand on the balcony in the middle of the night with little clothing, and inserted objects into her vagina and anus, including a metal Radler bottle. They also forced her to drink large amounts of alcohol, milk, and water, smoke 2 cigarettes at once, and inhale paint thinner fumes. In one attack in the middle of the month, Furuta was beaten by the group on the pretext that Miyano had stepped on a puddle of her urine, after which he burned her thighs and hands several times with lighter fluid. From around this time, Furuta, unable to bear the repeated assaults, would sometimes plead to be killed by her captors. Throughout the rest of December, the severity of Furuta's abuse continued to escalate, and by the end of the month she was severely malnourished after being fed only small amounts of food and eventually only milk. Due to her injuries, she had become unable to walk to the downstairs toilet, and was confined to the room's floor in a state of extreme weakness. Her appearance had been disfigured by the beatings, with her face becoming swollen to the point of unrecognizability, and her wounds had started to emit a foul odor. On the 4th of January, 1989, after losing money in a game of mahjong the night before, Miyano decided to take his anger out on Furuta. He ignited a candle and dripped hot wax on her face, placed 2 shortened candles on her eyelids, and forced her to drink her own urine. Furuta was lifted and kicked, fell onto a stereo unit, and began a fit of convulsions. To prevent them from being stained with blood, the group covered their hands in plastic bags before beating her with their fists and an iron exercise ball, and dropped the ball on her abdomen several times. Miyano poured lighter fluid on Furuta and set her on fire. She made weak attempts to put herself out, but soon stopped moving. The assault lasted for about 2 hours, after which Furuta died at 10 a.m. Less than 24 hours after her death, Minato's brother called to tell him that Furuta appeared to be dead. Afraid that their crime would be discovered, the group wrapped Furuta's body in a blanket and placed it in a large travel bag, then put the bag in a metal drum and filled it with wet concrete. At around 8 p.m. on the 5th of January, the group drove to a vacant lot near a construction site on the island of Wakasu in KT, Tokyo, and dumped the drum there. In early 1989, Miyano and Ogura were arrested for kidnapping and gang raping the 19-year-old woman in December 1988. When police interrogated Miyano, he wrongly believed that Ogura had already confessed to Furuta's murder and that the police were aware of this, so he told them where to find her body. The police were initially puzzled by his confession, as they were questioning him about a different murder. The drum containing Furuta's body was recovered on the 29th of March, and she was identified via fingerprints. Minato, Watanabe, Minato's brother, Nakamura, and Ahara were also arrested. The identities of the defendants were sealed by the court, as they were all legally juveniles, under age 20. Journalists from the Shikaren Bunshun tabloid uncovered their identities and published them, arguing that the accused did not deserve to have their right to anonymity upheld, given the severity of the crime. In July 1990, all were found guilty and sentenced by the Tokyo District Court for abduction for the purpose of sexual assault, confinement, rape, assault, murder, and abandonment of a corpse. 5, all 4 appealed in July 1991. 3 were resentenced to longer terms by the Tokyo High Court. Hiroshi Miyano was originally sentenced to 17 years in prison and resentenced to 20 years, the longest sentence typically given in Japan short of life imprisonment, which had been sought by the prosecution. Miyano's parents sold their family home and paid Furuta's parents 50 million yen, about $350,000 US, $830,000 today, in compensation, which their son's defense presented as a mitigating circumstance. From the time the case was first reported in the media, the Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department, the investigating body, received many calls and letters from the general public demanding that the perpetrators be severely punished, including by life imprisonment or with the death penalty. The Tokyo Public Prosecutor's Office, which had sought life imprisonment for Miyano during the trial, was criticized for not seeking life sentences for the other perpetrators, nor seeking the death penalty. The Tokyo District Court also received numerous calls and letters which criticized the perceived lightness of its sentencing, though a majority of legal professionals surveyed by the Asahi Shimbun newspaper said that the sentences were appropriate based on precedent. Furuta's funeral was held on the 2nd of April, 1989. During the ceremony, one of her friends delivered a eulogy written by her classmates, which stated, "Jun-chan, welcome back. I never dreamed we would meet again like this. You were subjected to such cruelty, weren't you? You went through so much, didn't you? I'm upset with myself that I went on living, unaware of what was happening. You are always so gentle and cheerful, Jun-chan. The happy we made for the cultural festival looked wonderful on you. I'll never forget that. We will absolutely not let Jun-chan's death be in vain. As we step into adulthood, we'll strive for a world where such heinous crimes no longer exist. We'll do our best, keeping Jun-chan in our hearts and pushing forward. The principal even brought your diploma. Thanks to this, all 47 of us in class 3 to 8 were able to graduate. Jun-chan, there's no more pain or suffering now. Rest peacefully. Farewell, Jun-chan." Furuta's intended future employer presented her parents with the uniform she would have worn in her position, and it was placed in her casket. At her graduation, the principal presented her parents with her diploma. The location on Wakasu where her body was discovered is now an industrial zone. What about you? Do you think Junko Furuta received the justice she deserved? Was the punishment enough for those responsible for such a horrific crime? Junko's story is heartbreaking and a reminder of how crucial it is to stand up against violence and injustice. May she rest in peace. Speech below, and we want to hear your thoughts. Share them in the comments below. Thumbs up sign if you found this story important. Please like, share, and subscribe for more true crime content.